eIMMIGRATION. My name is Vanessa Vargas. On behalf of Cerenade, I want to thank you for joining us today. Today we have a basic training for new users. And if you're new, just so you know, this is being recorded. We keep all of our webinar videos in our YouTube channel. And so we recommend that if you haven't done it yet, that you go to youtube.com, search Cerenade Academy, and subscribe to the channel. This is where we upload all these videos. So in case you get a client, get distracted, you can't attend a webinar, you can always watch the videos here, okay? And the other thing is we have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to be using today with useful links that you can click on. And I highly recommend that you download it. If you click on handouts from the GoToWebinar panel, you can download my PowerPoint presentation. All right, so let's get started. If you have questions, there's always a chat or questions, message or section, I guess, where you can ask me, send me your questions. I'm going to be launching polls as well, where you can participate. And one of them is this one. Tell me if you are a brand new user or you've been to a training and you just want like a refresher course. Now remember, even though this is a basic training for new users, if you have any other questions not related, you can always ask. All right, so let's share the results. It looks like, yeah, the majority of you are brand new, and thank you so much for being here again. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to show you, let's start with the basic 3 steps, contact members cases. A lot of clients, when they're new, I think the most common question is like, where do I find the forms? So let's take a look. Let me log in into the caseworker portal. You should have received an email from Cerenade's caseworker or sales rep with a URL. I suggest you bookmark it, and also you can use the system on any device, iPhones, Androids, tablets, any computer, and any browser as well. So when you log in into the caseworker portal, if you are new and you haven't done it yet, make sure that you click on the top right corner where it says settings, administrative tools. Now, if you don't see administrative tools, it's because someone in your organization or your law firm has access, so just remind them. But it's important that you customize the department. If you're brand new and you haven't done it yet, if you haven't received your training, it's going to say default here. So you need to update with the name of your organization or law firm. And of course, update the users. And you're going to get a training from us regarding the administrative portal, which is, again, mostly customizations. Let me switch back. In fact, I'm going to right click and open in a new tab. So if you have any questions about customizations or the administrative portal, I'm going to leave it right here. All right, so this is the caseworker portal. Again, I'm going to show you the 3 basic steps. And the first one is to create a contact. On the left, you click Create Client Contact, and you're going to enter the information for either a prospect, active, individual, or business client. So this is your first step, creating a contact. Notice that the system is auto-generating my client number, and I'm also going to open the account or profile as soon as I click Create Contact. In fact, let me show you an existing contact. How do I find an existing contact? Either I can search here, which just keep in mind is going to give me the top 5 most recently updated ones. So if I, for example, here, I don't see the one that I need, that's because it hasn't been, hold on, let me see. Can you guys still hear me? Let me see if my internet connection is okay. Testing. Okay, let me know if you guys can hear me. So like I said, if you search the top, it's just for the top 5 most recently updated ones. So if you want to search for an existing client or an existing case, use the ones on the left. So let's say I'm searching for an existing contact, and I suggest the status as any because you don't know if it's a prospect or active, and just a few letters will help you to narrow down the search. Another thing that's very common if you have, for example, duplicates or very similar contacts. So I can use this. If you click select, load more data, and compare two profiles at the same time. I can see the date of creation. I can see this one doesn't have any cases created or any members that have been linked, whereas this one, she has employer, children, or some cases that I can access. So that's how you can also save time by using the quick links. This is a shortcut, or you can just click on the name or last name, middle name. Okay, so this is an example of a client, a contact. Again, you can use the system to keep track of potential clients or leads. I highly recommend that too, so that you take advantage of the CRM related features. So we created a contact profile, and you're gonna have different types of clients, either tech savvy or they're not tech savvy. So how do you help them? If you have the client in front of you or on the phone, you're the one typing the information, my suggestion is to use the alternate view on the right-hand side. Look at the menu and locate alternate view. So the alternate view allows you to access the template, the intake forms or questionnaires. And also, as a reminder, you can create your own questionnaires. So these questionnaires that we offer in the system by default, such as this one, general information for individual client, you can modify them. You can add, remove, you can copy them. So if I wanted to use my own or create my own questionnaires, I need to go into the administrative portal and customize the questionnaires. Obviously, today we're not going to talk about that, but please know that we have a user's guide that has videos and articles that will show you how to do that. And I highly, highly recommend it. Why? Because you're going to save time. Imagine, and I get it, sometimes attorneys have created their own questionnaires in, what is it, PDF or Word documents, and they send them via email. But the problem with that is that your clients are going to waste time downloading the document, typing the information or writing it, scanning it, sending it back, and then you have to retype the data anyway. So you might as well just spend 15, 20 minutes creating a questionnaire with our technology, like this one, for example, that not only you get to ask questions that will populate the immigration forms, but questions that can help you grow your business. Like, is this the first time that you contact us? What service do you need? Or when would you like to come in for a consultation, etc. So you can create, again, your own questionnaires. You can also print them for those who are not tech savvy. And the questionnaires are also available in different languages. So if I wanted to translate a questionnaire for Valeria, but she doesn't have either a cell phone or she's not savvy. So I can click on create questionnaire and I can print the questionnaire. For example, let's use this one, asylum intake form. So, and this is again just another example of a custom intake form. So I'm going to translate to Spanish. We have more languages. It's just that this particular questionnaire was created for just those languages. As you can see, the system through AI translates the questions and maybe instructions, and I can just print it in Spanish. So again, keep in mind, you get to create your own questionnaires and print them, translate them. You can access them if you don't necessarily want to share with the client. Okay. Later, I'm going to cover in detail how to send and receive these questionnaires. For now, I just wanted to mention that. And again, we're going to cover the basic 3 steps. And the first one is just create the contact. Okay. Now, really quick, if you guys have a website or social media pages and you guys want to save time and obviously capture as many clients as you can, I highly suggest that you click on create questionnaire and then you use this anonymous questionnaire link. It's basically any link that you want to create based on any type of process. You can select the status of the person, like anyone who clicks on the link and submits the questionnaire back to you Is it going to be considered a prospect or active client, right? So you can select the status and who's going to receive the questionnaire, what type of process this link is going to be for. I usually recommend keep it very simple, no process, mostly like how about like an intake form to give them like a welcome, so that whenever they click on that link, let me give you a scenario. I can be very specific. Oh, sorry, like this one, very specific for an employer, a business client, such as Starbucks. And if we're doing H-1Bs, I don't want to create profiles manually for every single applicant for my client. What I can do is send them a bulk email with that link and have them create their own account. On the other hand, like I said, on your website, you can put something very generic. Like I said, create your own questionnaire that says something like, how did you hear about us? When would you like to come in for a consultation? Blah, blah, blah. So you can create a very simple intake form that a potential client or a lead can just click on the link from your website, or you can send this via email or WhatsApp, and we have these languages available. So they can translate the questions, complete the form, and once they get a code to, for security reasons, we have to verify their identity. So once they get the code and enter the code, then they can proceed to complete the questionnaire and then send it back to you. And when they do that, the system will create an account just like this one, and it's going to say prospect, John Smith. So that way you don't have to manually create the contact for your clients. Okay, just so you know. So there's two ways. Either you create it manually or you use that anonymous questionnaire. Now, second step, after you create the contact profile, you want to link the members. These members are your client's children or spouse or parents, joint sponsor, employer, anyone who is going to be related to your client in any way that's needed on the forms, even though they're not technically part of the case, like the parents. They're not part of the case, they're not the beneficiaries, but I still need their names, date of birth, place of birth. So I might as well just link them as members so that I don't have to retype their data over and over on different forms, right? So remember, the goal of using a system like eIMMIGRATION is for you to work more efficiently. And I know sometimes it's hard to change the way we've done things, but it's going to be worth it if you practice. And and it's good that you're here. So we want to click here to link a member. Most likely you don't have the person in the system yet. So you need to click here at the bottom where it says new contact. Yes, you need to create a new contact account or profile for this person. Again, even though it's technically not your client, and therefore I suggest that you uncheck the box and you don't assign a client number because they're not a client. But you still need to create a contact and select a relationship. This is a daughter, this is a spouse, or joint sponsor, HR. So anyways, you get the idea. And you click link. And eventually, again, you're going to be more organized because you're going to see the name of your client, you're going to see who's related, how they related, and that person could become your client eventually. So let's say my client's father now, he's interested in getting his citizenship. So then I click on his name, and now I just send him questionnaires for the N400. Okay? All right. So like I said, either you link them manually, or you could also send the client a questionnaire called relatives. Or you could also use the alternate view and enter the information for the relatives. Okay, let me know if you have any questions at this point. I quickly want to give you as many tips as I can. We only have 1 hour, so bear with me. But remember, we are recording the video, so you can always watch this later. So one thing that I want to share right now is if I linked, let's say, okay, I'm going to link another daughter. Let's create the contact. Her name is going to be Julieta Smith. I'll just call it Julieta. Female. Obviously, she has the same address as the mother, my client. So when I create the account for the daughter, and I click on her name, obviously now I'm in the daughter's account or profile. If I need to enter the information, let's say address, there is a copy button right here. So I click copy from, and then here's the mother, my client. So just click select. That way I don't have to retype either the residence address, or I can just copy the address from the US residence address into the mailing address. Okay, so that way, again, when I complete the form for Julieta and I need her address, it populates automatically. You have the same thing under history. If obviously the daughter has lived with her mom past, what, I don't know, 10 years, or instead of me entering all the previous addresses, there's a copy from button, and I can just look at the history of previous addresses from the mother and then choose the ones that apply. Maybe Julieta has lived in these 3 addresses, and I'll just copy and then modify the date. Right? Those are like shortcuts. We do have a training or webinar that we, I'm not sure when, because you can always check the training calendar. Let me see if we have one for July or August, but we do like, tricks and shortcuts, or maybe we did that recently. Or like this one, I highly recommend it. Just use the system to its full potential. You won't believe, like we have clients that have used the system just for forms, and it's such a waste. eIMMIGRATION has a lot more features than just forms technology. It's a full practice management solution. Okay, so step number 3. Once we create the contact, we enter data, we link the members and enter their data. Step number 3 is when you click on cases on the right hand side. You have a menu, click cases and create the case or matter. This is where you can find the forms, and the data that you have entered in the system will auto-populate the forms. So when you create a case, you're going to use this case wizard. We're going to choose our department. Make sure you customize it. So again, if you're new and it still says default, go into your admin and update the information. Do not create a new department. Just edit the one that says default. All right, so let me see if anyone has a question at this point. No, okay, I'll continue. If you have questions, please let me know. So when creating a case, you have to go through this case wizard and choose the department or location, choose the process. This is customizable. The system is not just for immigration. You can use it for more than that, like criminal law, family law, personal injury. We have clients that use it for translations, notary services, etc. So just customize them. And all these drop-down menus can also be customized. Type of category. So again, it's a lot easier for you to run reports if you say, hey, give me all the cases that we've done for social services or family versus employment-based. The attorney's information will transfer on a case-by-case basis. You can just choose that and check the box. Click next. This is where you select role. So please pay close attention to this. If you want to create an employment base, the employer has to be selected as employer, not petitioner. Okay? Let me say that again. If it's employment-based case, a business client, you need to select employer. Here we go. That way, the system allows you to pick the branch and the signatory on a case-by-case basis. Okay? If it's a family-based case, then yes, you can choose petitioner. And for the beneficiary, I also suggest that you select alien instead. I know some people have a problem with that word. It's okay. You can choose beneficiary if that's what you want. But the fastest way is for the role alien, because the forms are expecting alien information. So it's a lot faster. And of course, if there's like a derivative, you can choose that. another type of cases of plaintiff, defendant, guardian minor, etc. I'm going to click next. This is optional if you don't have any conditional rules selected. For example, the reason why they created this conditional rule is that if I forget to select the correct type of program or the status in this example, then I get a reminder so the data is accurate. And lastly, the forms checklist, which again, you can customize by deleting or adding forms on a case-by-case basis. Let's click create so that we can create the case and we can start working with forms. Please let me know if the 3 steps were clear to you. For those who are voting no, please explain one more time. I'm going to briefly go over the 3 basic steps, not in detail, but at the end of the training, you're more than welcome to stick around and I can cover them again. I'm waiting for the rest of the participants to vote, but I can live with 78% of the votes. So, all right. So since we've got the majority, like I said, later today, if you want me to cover in detail the 3 basic steps, I'll be more than happy to do it. But just really quick, you create a contact, you link the relatives or members, and then you create the case. Okay. All right. When you create the case, you're gonna see the difference, and also on the top left, it shows home/cases/forms. I call this my GPS because it tells me where in the system I'm at, or breadcrumbs. So I can click on the link or the hyperlink that says main party. In fact, I always recommend you do that because that allows you to open another tab. Let me drag this so that you can see. These are called tabs. In Spanish is etiquetas. So like you have in a browser window, multiple sub tabs, and you can navigate from one to the other. Okay. So when I clicked on the name of my client, it opened another tab. Why did I do that? Well, because I want to access her contact profile. This is a main database. I call this the brain of the system because this is where the data or the knowledge comes from. So that's how I learned, this is a very important for me to update. Instead of modifying every single form, might as well just enter the data where it belongs. Plus, it takes the same amount of time to type here or here. So do it in the right place. Now, let's go back to the case window where I can see the type of process, the type of, or the case number, and let's open a form. You can click on the link or you can just select edit, whatever you prefer. I'm opening the I-130. I want you to know that Cerenade has a unique forms technology. So, like I said, if you work on any device, any browser, it's going to be okay. Look on the left how it says in red, petitioner info goes here. And it did, because I picked petitioner. Well, on page 5, if you look at it, it says alien. And this is why I recommended choosing alien instead of beneficiary. Because if you choose beneficiary, the data doesn't transfer, which is fine. You can still transfer by clicking the select button. If you want to save time, and who doesn't? So just keep that in mind. If for some reason, hey, nothing transferred, but I know I have data, just click select, click replace, and click on the name of the party. And that's it. This also allows you to refresh or update the information on the form. All right, so let's take a look at page 2 of the I-130. I want to modify the address. It's very common for like safe address for like VAWA cases that you don't want the client's actual mailing address. So let's say that we want the law firm PO box number here. So I want to overwrite this information. Let me uncheck this. But at the same time, I don't want to delete my client's actual mailing address. So you can overwrite. As you can see, it's changing the information as I'm typing. right? That you can tell that a paralegal or an attorney enter data manually in the system, which is a big no-no. Like I said, the best practice is, hey, let me just go into the contact and update the information here. But in this situation, I purposely want to override a piece of information that's just for this form. Let me save my changes. So on the country, let's say that I realize this is incorrect, the date of birth. When I switch to the other tab and I change the date of birth here, let's say the correct date of birth was 1987. And I save the changes. Again, I updated the profile. All I do is switch back and refresh. Now you know how to refresh the form. I mentioned that we have these select red buttons. So click there. It's called Party on Demand, or POT for short. And you want to replace, I'm not going to replace with someone else's data. I'm just going to click on her name. She's a petitioner. And I'm replacing the old with the new data, right? I'm updating the information. Let's take a look. It did update the date of birth, but it didn't mess with my overwritten field, the PO box. Okay? If you have questions about what I just did, message me. And let's continue. Another feature you have with the forms is the sticky note, or like a post-it. You click on the square, you move your mouse, and you add a note. For example, please confirm date. And I suggest that you use your initials. You can modify the sticky note, the size, the color, the font, the location. You can have more than one sticky note across the form with your questions, observations, notes, right? And if you are ready to print the form, you can print with or without sticky notes, okay? Now, I highly recommend using these when sharing the form, the actual form with your client so that they see your observations, questions. I always think, I mean, if I was your client and my attorney sends this form that's been completed with observations or questions, I think that's a great, service, because, I don't know that the system auto-populated this, but just the fact that, I get to review or edit before the form is submitted, that's great. It's a lot easier instead of having to drive to the office. Okay, the other thing is you have this keyboard. It's called Type Anywhere. When you click on that, you move your mouse, and literally, as the name says, you can type anywhere you want. You can drag and drop the text wherever you want. And a lot of attorneys use it instead of add your notes this way, or again, to avoid creating like an addendum. Now, speaking of addendums, if you have a long address and it doesn't fit in this field, number one, the system is developed to shrink it as much as we can. Obviously, it has to be legible. If you want to do it manually, you can click on this A so that it can reduce the size of the font, maybe 7, not too small. But as you can see, if I still exceed, the system creates the addendum for me. Let's take a look. If we go to the last pages of the form, there's a red button that says additional entries. So click there. Now remember, we talked about having a contact profile where we enter her information, including all the previous addresses or employment history, marriage history, right? Everything is coming from here. Other names she has ever used. So when we go to this last page and we click on edit additional entries, the system will show us what those additional entries are. And I can choose and pick, okay, we want to transfer this and maybe not this, or not these addresses, just the last 5 years. I don't know. So you can just click save, and the system will auto-populate the information along with the page, part, and item numbers. All right, so let's save. if I left any blank spaces on the form and I want to replace with NA or none, or you can click on this icon and you can say replace this with this. So I can just type like NA, and it will go throughout the form and find any blank spaces and replace it with NA. Okay. Again, just those little details, but at the end of the day, if you add up the time form by form, it's going to save you so much time. Let me know if you have any questions about the forms. I'm going to close the form. But again, if you have questions, let me know. Now, what if I want to send a questionnaire to my client? Let me close this and say, all right, Valeria, she has a cell phone and an email address. She probably prefers to use WhatsApp, or so I can send a questionnaire. If I click on the left, create questionnaire, and I'm going to now, instead of printing it, I'm going to send it to Valeria. Give me 1 second. I am reading a question. So it says, after completing information in client files and forms and then logging into eIMMIGRATION, the information is not transferring properly. I have checked, I have information in eIMMIGRATION, and something totally different is exported to USCIS. Does not happen all the time, but it's happening more and more. So that sounds, I mean, like I said, let me close this. We'll come back. Let me open the case that we just created. Okay, so if you know for sure, you've entered the information in here, right? The profile. When you create the case, take a look at the case parties that you've selected. Sometimes, like I said, you probably have a different role, like beneficiary, and the form says alien. Sometimes that's the reason why information doesn't transfer. But now you're saying it's not transferring properly, like it's something different. So if you guys are using e-filing and something is not transferring correctly, it depends on also which form you're filing, maybe the 589, and there are a couple of fields that you want to double check. For example, I'm trying to think of a form. Yeah, I think the 589 is a good example. But my suggestion is that you contact us for support. It sounds like we need to connect to your computer. Whenever you're ready to file a form online, if you're doing it, exporting it to USCIS website, contact us. See, a form like the I-589 has miscellaneous fields that you need to confirm here before you export to USCIS. Just to give you an idea, for example, here, the values on the form are these, and then you have to re-enter them on these fields. So that could have been the issue where like, hey, I know I have the data in the system, but I probably didn't confirm those miscellaneous fields. Like I said, my suggestion is that you contact our team for support so that we can connect to your screen and see what's going on. Okay, but thank you. All right, so let's go back to the questionnaires example. I was going into the client account and then I clicked on create questionnaire and I selected send it to Valeria. You're very welcome. So you've got two options. You can send them through the client portal, like they have to click on a URL, they have to enter username and password, or you could also just send the questionnaire or e-tick form with a passwordless link. It's very common. Notice that you can choose the language, you can choose the type of process, and I guess I picked TPS word. So I can select the questionnaire and click save. Oh, it looks like look this one doesn't have translation. All right, I picked a different one. So how do I not find my client? Well, if you guys have in your package SMS included, you can send a text message. And this is, I don't know why. Oh, here we go. It was taking longer to load. I could send a text message, I could send an email, or I could just copy the link and open WhatsApp web and paste the link. or not just WhatsApp, but so you can notify the client, let's say via text message. Just keep in mind, do not remove or modify the link. This is very important. When you send a text message, now your client can complete the questionnaire, but sometimes clients forget, and it's nice to receive a reminder. How about if you send a text message once every 3 days or once a week, or both text message and email, but stop sending these maybe after 2 weeks. Of course, if she completes a questionnaire before this date, we stop sending the reminders. Let's close this window. But what if you send the questionnaire to the client portal? Remember, you have a client portal included in your subscription where your clients can log in into the system, which is, I highly recommend it because it's not just for questionnaires or forms. Your clients can upload evidence, they can run a report if you share, they can pay an invoice, they can do a lot more than just completing a questionnaire. So I highly recommend that you look into using the client portal. Here's a questionnaire that I've sent to my client. She opens the questionnaire, and the data that any data that I captured so far, it's going to be here. So she has to just review the questionnaire. Well, let's say that the U.S. residence address is not correct, and it was this. I have the caption. Okay, so my client updated her address. She can print this for her own record. In fact, tell your clients, if you need a copy, you might as well just print it before you submit it. Also, if there is a different language option, they can translate, right? And they can send it back to me. Whenever a client sends a questionnaire, they have no access to that same questionnaire anymore until you resend it. See, it's gone. You will get an email from us, but if you, for any reason, missed that email, you could also look at this number on the top right corner. It says questionnaires and forms. I've got 8 items. It tells me the name of the client. It tells me the questionnaire, the dates, and who sent it. So we need to open. Otherwise, think of it like it's in the twilight zone. It's in the limbo. The client doesn't have access. I haven't approved it yet. So the data, it's see here. Also notice we highlight the changes in red. So if I click on any of these modified fields, the system tells me what's in the system, like what's in the contact profile right now. Currently, I have Avenue Test, and the client changed it to this Avenue. So I either accept or I can reject it and send it back to the client. I will accept it. Let me just dismiss this. I don't want to create any links. Okay, I accepted the questionnaire for Valeria. So that means that any changes are now reflected here. It overwrites. Let's take a look. Yep, it's correct. So it updated the address, which means that if I reopen my form, regardless of what I did, well, technically I overwritten that with the PO box. But what if I want to cancel this? What if I store it and now I want to use her actual address? So I can restore the value right here. See, I'm just clicking on the field and then click on the top where it says restore the value, click here. That's it. Okay. So technically the address that I was looking for is this one, but on question 11, sorry, it says, is your mailing address the same as your physical? I'm just going to say no. And then remove these NA. Anyways, so it transfers the correct information from the profile. Any questions at this point? Let me know. That's what we're here for, and I'm a real person. I'm not a guy. Sometimes I wish I was, though. Let's see, what's next? Remember, you can download my PowerPoint. You can click on the links and review this at a later time. How do I send these forms to my clients so they can make changes? I simply select the forms that I want to share and either email them as read-only PDF, or if I want the client to review and edit, it's this option, email forms as editable HTML. I need to, for example, send an email saying, hey, log into your portal. I'm sending the forms to Valeria. These are the forms that I'm sending, but I'm not going to use this default message. I'm going to use a personalized message in Spanish that auto-populates today's date, her name. It's in Spanish. You can create these templates in the administrator portal to save time. Next question. Sorry, I'm reading a question from someone. It says, can you remind us how we select the addresses from a family member or spouse to populate into another client's profile? Yeah, of course. Let me close this. So what I did, I went to relatives or members. I went, let's use that Julieta example, right? I opened the account and I go to the address and there's a copy/move button or link. So click there and then copy from, but don't click on the name of the person. That opens the account. Just click on the word select. And now it also populates the daughter's account with the correct US address. I call those like hidden gems in eIMMIGRATION. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. All right, so I was showing you how to send the forms to the client, and I'm in the process of sending that email. Let's switch back as if we were the client, and the client goes into her mailbox, and she sees the forms. Obviously, she's going to open the form, and this is the reason why I love using sticky notes, because my client can say, yes, this is correct, or modify. Maybe it was 1987, I don't know, 1997. I can modify the information, but keep in mind, anything they modify, if they overwrite, stays only on the form. It won't transfer to the profile, the database, okay? A question from someone via chat says, do you have Spanish templates for system generated emails like questionnaires or forms? No, that's the reason why you can create your own letter templates, but you can always pass that suggestion to our management and development team over here on the top right, where it says feedback, something you like or dislike. Let them know, hey, I would like the option for the system generated emails to be in Spanish as well. Okay, let's close this. Okay, next question or item in my list is logs. Logs are your notes. You want to add a note or a comment, I highly recommend that you customize the categories. Instead of just saying, I have a general note or timekeeper or billing, you can have more than that. In the administrator portal, just go, this is the admin, just go where it says types of comments, and then customize the type of comments or the type of notes, so that when you create a note, you specify what this is related to an RFE, or this is a note related to their court hearing, or so it's a lot easier for you to run a report, like show me all the notes that are RFE related, okay? So you're gonna enter the note and it looks like this. Let me see. Next is how to gather and store documents. If you notice on this is the case window or profile. On the right hand side, we have the menu and it says documents. Well, this is where you can have a checklist. I also recommend translating it because it's a lot easier for me to just, select and share. It's already translated and my client will understand what is it that I'm asking for. I want your passport picture or photo, or I want your birth certificate, acta de nacimiento. So if you select or share, if you select and share with your clients, you simply have to select who are you sharing this with, click next, and maybe send an email as a courtesy. But now what happens with that is my client can go into her portal click on share documents, and she can see the list that I'm requesting. I need your RFE, I need copies of your visas or passport. And so it's easier for her or him to just click upload a document and then send me the document and specify this is my passport, this is my visa or I-94. Yeah, that's how you can gather the evidence. If you are uploading on behalf of your clients and they're not really savvy, you can technically just print the PDF with the documentation requirements and give them that so they can bring it to the office, and then you scan on behalf of the client and then do this. Click Tools, select Batch Upload, and you're going to drag and drop all the evidence in one window, and then obviously upload it here. Okay. All right, next, like I said, letter templates are created in the administrator portal. Just click on letter templates. We do have a tutorial video, but like I said, it's better for you to download my PowerPoint presentation because I have the link right here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to read a question out loud. Maybe this is a better question for the template seminar, but is there a way to auto-populate a note section from a questionnaire as long as a log? Is there a way to auto-populate note section from a questionnaire as a log? I don't think so. We have a personalized log type for intake notes. That's a great question, but I don't know if let me quickly see. When you create a questionnaire, I'm gonna use a random questionnaire like a graphic one. Let's say text and call it notes and say this is for the client to enter notes. I'm just, as I am trying to answer your question, see if I can link it to a log or where, you know what I recommend that you do instead of, because I don't think it allows you to link it to a log section. But what you can do is create a custom field that's called notes from intake form. That you can do. Yeah, it is doable. It's just that it's not going to be over here under logs. It's going to be under here, custom fields. Okay. Can you upload a document for clients to fill out? No. I mean, technically, yes, but that would be kind of like a PDF or a Word document. And the idea is that you use our technology so that if clients are going to spend time filling it out, might as well just give them the technology so that you guys just simply accept it and you don't have to retype the data. So it's not uploading a document for them to fill out, is replicating or creating the same document like a questionnaire using our technology. Technically, and if you think about it, it's a lot easier this way because number one, you create it one time in English and then you can translate in different languages. You can print it if needed if the client is not tech savvy. But if they are tech savvy, like I said, you can even put that link on your website and have them fill out without you creating an account for the contact. So for many, many reasons, it's a lot easier for you to, or not just easier, but makes more sense to use our technology than uploading a PDF or Word that you already have. Okay, I hope that I answered your question, but if you have other questions, let me know. Okay, so let me show you another feature that I'm pretty sure you're gonna like. It's called document assembly. All of you have access to it, regardless of the package that you have. This is one of our standard features. Again, it's called document assembly. I'm in the case window, and let's assume that I've completed all the forms. I've gathered the evidence. I've got my cover letters, right? And I'm ready to create a package. So I click on document assembly. I click new, give it a title or name because you can create different versions of the package. And then select the forms that you want to include. Click on this bar to move the forms into the package, or I can remove a form that if I don't need it. Obviously, the evidence and the cover letters, you're going to do the same thing, select, move. And then I like the fact that you can drag and drop and then customize it. I want this document here. I want this cover letter here. And once you create the package, then create the table of contents. The system updates the page numbers accordingly, so you don't have to do anything. Just click save. And you can download or email the package with the footer caption and the numbering too. So this is going to save you so much time. And but yeah, so that's something that you guys all have access to, and it's called document assembly. I'm almost done. I'm going to show you how to create a reminder. If I create a reminder, it's not just for me or my staff, it could be a reminder for my client. For example, let me add a reminder and remember to customize the reminders in the administrator portal, because we don't want it to be too broad, like, oh, I have a deadline or I have a task. Yeah, but which task or what's the deadline, right? Like, I have a renewal, I have a court hearing prep appointment with a client. So anyways, just customize these because it's a lot easier for you to, like I said, run reports. And when you get an actual reminder or notification, you know what this is for. Let's say we have to draft the declaration. We need to do that by the 26th of July. But we want to send a notification via text message and email, maybe a few days before the declaration draft has to be completed, about at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And who's responsible for the draft of the declaration? The attorney. And I want to include in the text message alert my paralegal, my client, right? Her daughter. Like, you can just add as many recipients as needed, both for text message and email. Again, I'm just picking the recipients so that we all get the notification and we don't forget about the declaration draft. And lastly, now you can use the message template or the letter template, so you don't have to. So if you create one that says reminder for declaration, like, I don't have to, or this is just a test, sending reminder. Let me use a different one. It could be my logo, the name. Anyways, just picking random template. Okay, any questions at this point? Let me know. I'm going to show you now one of my favorite features that I feel like sometimes clients underutilize it. I hope that's not your case. It's called process steps. Process steps help you to not just be organized, but also delegate properly and prioritize, because each case or matter, right? Like in this example, an adjustment of status has different tasks, or think of it like milestones. Well, when you create a case and you modify the process steps, this is where you select the type of task, because you can manually change it. And you have to enter a start date. So let's say next Monday. I can't believe next Monday is already the 15th. As you can see, I'm adding dates for us to start the task, but based on the number here, so let's say we've got 4 days to complete this. It auto-populated my target date. Now, who's going to do this? Vanessa, Alfu, like I delegate, and the caseworker that I'm choosing will receive an email if this box is checked. Let's say Vanessa will get an email on August 9th when it's time for me to sign the agreement or create an invoice and send it to the client if I haven't done it. How is the system going to know? Well, because there has to be either a completed check mark or an end date. That means that we did it and there's no need for the system to send a reminder. Obviously, these target dates or deadlines, well, let's say we've got another one that's past due that we were supposed to do last week. It's going to be in red And all these target dates reflect in what we call the tickler. The tickler is your general dashboard, which you can customize. And this is kind of like your helicopter view where you can see everything in one place. Hey, I want to see how many reminders do we have, not just for me, but I want to show the data for all my staff members. What's going on in the next 5 days, 6 to 20 days? I mean, you can customize these. It looks like we need to complete forms by July 18, or that we've got 4 overdue reminders, and I can see who's responsible to do this. So, hey, Separa's been out for, I don't know, let's say 3 weeks. It's time for me to call the client because this is, way overdue since March. We probably lost that client already. Okay, let's see. Someone has a question. It says, I try to delete the last page of a form, the additional pages, because the incorrect info populated, but I couldn't. Can you show how to delete? Yeah, of course. The reason why you couldn't do it is because, let me open it. Remember, the data is supposed to be entered in the system. Like, I don't know, maybe you're trying to delete an address or other names or marriage history. I don't know. So when you go to the last page, let's open a form. Let me do, won't do this one. Let me delete the client's copy. Okay, so what's going on is this client is trying to delete, well, not the NA. Let me populate. Okay, so you're trying to delete here the part number or page number, and it's not letting you, right? So all you need to do is click the red button, edit, and uncheck the box to delete it. Once you do that, let me just remove as many as I can. I'll just leave a few. Once you do that, click save, and then auto populates based on the selection. So that's it. And it will be, I think it's by alphabetical order or exactly how you have it in the system. Next question says, can you go over the difference between archive and closed cases? Yes, so the way I learned that is that if you, let's go to the general basic info. If you archive a case, it means that you're planning on reopening it at a later time. Let's say we're waiting for approval and or the court hearing or whatever, like you're waiting for something to happen, but in the meantime, you're not going to do anything to the case, which is waiting. So let's put it away. So I'm archiving it. Whereas if you close the case, that means that it's done deal. There's nothing else, like the case has been approved or denied or simply, which, lack of, like you can customize these reasons so that whenever a paralegal closes or archives a case, you know why. You can actually enforce this so that it's mandatory for them to provide a reason why they closed or archived a case. And also notice that you can lock all the forms or unshare information or complete all the pending reminders to the current date. So, right, so that it doesn't show pending. All right, thank you for the question. Let me see, I was covering. Yeah, I think I'm going to just give you the resources and support. Yes, you will have questions. That's normal. Please contact us. Call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. Send us an email 24/7. That's our email address. Or on your home screen, like I said, you can send us a message for technical support or to send feedback to our developers. You also have a user's guide available. I put the link right here in my PowerPoint if you want to download it. These webinars are free. They're live on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. We also have a podcast. We have a Facebook forum page you can join. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here are some links that you can click on in case you didn't know that we have the drag and drop. We have the timekeeper, we have e-filing, billing, calendar, I mean, there are a lot more features that you're probably not using, like new features like the summarizer or the extractor. And upcoming trainings for July would be the client portal and how to easily create your own intake forms. These are the ones for August. You can always find them on the website. And we ask that you please connect with us so that we can better assist you. And I hope that you learned something new today. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Were your questions addressed during the webinar? Please vote on the screen. Thank you so much for those who voted. Awesome. Well, on behalf of Cerenade, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope that you learned something new. For those who want to stick around, I'm going to cover the basic 3 steps one more time, as I promised. But if you have to disconnect, again, have an amazing weekend, and thank you for joining us today. If you have any other questions, you can also submit them before you go. So really quick, what I covered as the basic 3 steps were, number 1, create a client or contact. Okay, this is your step 1. Once you create the account, it's going to look like this. You can click to upload a picture, enter as much information as possible, and don't forget to save your changes. Otherwise, if you move to a different section, you lose that information. Step number 2, click on members, and this is where you click to link a member, which you can either find in the system or create. Most likely you will need to create right here. But don't auto-generate a client number because they're not your client, or at least not yet, and select a relationship. So let's say I have to link my client's son, and I just click link, okay? And then of course, click on the name of the person so that you can complete their corresponding data. That's how it works. And step number 3 was cases. So you click on cases and then create the case and follow the yellow brick road. Just kidding. This is called the case wizard. So just follow the steps to create your case. But yeah, that's it. So if you have any questions, again, please let me know before you disconnect. Any questions at this point? Okay. All right. Since there are no more questions, again, I want to thank you for joining us today and have a great weekend. Don't forget to follow us and subscribe. If you go to youtube.com, search Cerenade Academy and click subscribe. Do that because when we have new features, you want to be in the know. And so this is where we upload the tutorial videos when we have new features. Okay. And of course, when we do these trainings for free, we upload the videos as well. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.